Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Rox and today I'm just going to be recommending 3 books that I recently read and I think are really great. I did try to find books that are very different from each other. I have one young adult contemporary, one adult thriller, and then one non-fiction slash autobiography. So the first one that I'm going to be talking about is the young adult contemporary. This is one that I think a lot of people that are on booktube a lot know about, and that is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This one came out last year and it follows I'm not sure how old exactly she is, but she is near the end of her high school career, Liz Leidy, and she has this whole future planned out for herself. She's going to go to college slash university, I don't know. She's going to go to university and she's going to study to become a doctor, and she's kind of hoping to find a scholarship for this and be in the university's world-renowned orchestra because she is a musician. That is a very big theme throughout the book. In school, Liz has always been very reserved because she is black in a predominantly white school. She is not very rich, especially compared to everyone else. Like, she lives with her grandparents. They're already struggling to come up with enough funds for Liz and her brother. Her brother is also chronically ill. I think he has sickle cell anemia. The novel starts off with Liz's plans falling through and she's not able to get the scholarship by being in this orchestra. She then decides to run for Prom Queen because Prom Queen and King get scholarships. That is part of their prize. So Liz enters this competition and she's really determined to win because she really needs the scholarship. But like I said, it's very awkward for her and difficult because she's such a reserved person who doesn't really get out there, you know. A little wrench is thrown in Liz's plans when she starts a relationship with another girl, Mac, who is also running for Prom Queen. Besides the story just being very sweet and just exploring this relationship between these two girls, there are a lot of trigger warnings for homophobia and how other people, especially the townspeople, react to Liz, and especially to Liz being in a queer relationship with another girl. Yeah, the town doesn't take it very well, and that is difficult to read about, but just the relationship Liz and Mac has, it's very sweet to read about. Liz is such a lovable main character, and I don't get to say that often. Usually I like books where the main characters are horrible people and I don't like them at all, but Liz is a sweetie and I really like her. I'm most especially like I really love the relationship she has with her grandparents and with her brother. I saw this morning though on Twitter, it was quite disheartening, very sad to see. Leah Johnson posted that she received a letter from a parent who read her book and was really upset by the lesbian relationship in the book because, I don't know, I think this parent wanted like a sort of a trigger warning to not pick this book up beforehand, but you know, sexuality is not a mature thing that needs trigger warnings, and that was very disheartening to see. But while there's one parent that felt this way about the book, there were so many other parents supporting Leah in the streets, saying that this book is something their child really needed. Their child could finally see themselves in a book. And a lot of other people that were grown also said this was one of the few times they could actually see themselves in a book being black and queer. The next one I'm going to be talking about is a thriller that I recently read, and this one has been on my list for a while, but I found the audiobook on Script and I was like, you know, let's do it. And it was actually just one of the best thrillers I've read in a very long time. Just generally one of the best books I've read in a very long time, and that is No Exit by Taylor Adams. I have to make sure it's Taylor Adams because if someone's name and surname are just both names, then I get confused. This one is a bit older. It came out in 2017 already, so I think a lot of people have already read it, but I'm here to tell you to also read it. So this story follows Darby, who's on her way home from university because she just got a call that her mother is very sick and is heading into surgery. So she's on her way home, but she gets trapped in a blizzard and has to stop at a rest stop. At this rest stop, she goes inside, she meets a few of the people. I think they're not a lot, they're like 5, 6 maybe. But she goes out to make a phone call, or try to make a phone call at least. There's no service really. But then she discovers that there's a child locked in a cage in one of the cars. Darby then has to figure out who owns this car, who kidnapped this child, why this is happening, but she's also really debating with herself whether she should do something or wait for the next morning for the road assistance, the police to come along and help them. I think this was really one of the best thrillers I've read in a very long time because there were a lot of twists and turns, a lot of betrayal, and you don't know who who Darby can trust. But again, this is one where even though I like main characters that are very unlikable, Darby is really likable. Okay, perhaps she doesn't have the most likable personality, but she's a very smart main character, and any character that like shows some intuition, that should take some action, is always a character that I can really appreciate. It just makes it a little bit scarier because it seems like Darby's making all the right choices, but things just keep going wrong, and that makes it a little bit more scary, a little bit more thrilling, because what would you have done if you were in the same position? Sometimes you can clearly see a character is just messing up, they're just making all the wrong choices, and it's easy to see the path that they should have taken. With Darby, there is no path that you should have taken. The path that you took was the path that I would have felt I also would have taken. So it is a very complicated story, but it is really brilliant, well done, super fast paced. I read it in a day, which is something I can really appreciate in a thriller as well. I also appreciated the bad guys in this book. I felt like they had a lot of backstory just to back up their actions, not justify their actions, but kind of we see what led them to this specific point, what broke them down. Yeah, it was a very interesting book. It was so great. It was a lot of fun, and it was generally very intense. This entire book felt like just holding your breath, the entire time, because you're constantly on edge. So highly recommend, no exit. The next one I'm going to be talking about is the non-fiction, so the autobiography. This one came out in 2020, and it's a very short book written by Lem Sisse. This was a harrowing read. That is My Name Is Why. I'm just going to read you the synopsis because I feel like that would give a better idea of the book than I could. At the age of 17, after a childhood in an adopted family followed by 6 years in care homes, Norman Greenwood was given his birth certificate. He learned that his real name was not Norman, it was Lem Sisse. He was British and Ethiopian, and he learned that his mother had been pleading for his safe return to her since his birth. Here, Sisse recounts his life story. It is a story of neglect and determination, misfortune and hope, cruelty and beauty. Sisse reflects on adoption, self-expression, and Britishness, and in doing so explores the institutional care system, race, family, and the meaning of home, written with all the lyricism, and power you would expect from one of the nation's best loved voices. This moving, frank, and timely memoir is the result of a life spent asking questions and a celebration of the redemptive power of creativity. Yes, everything I just said is in fact true. Lem was taken away from his mother. She couldn't care for him at the time of his birth, so she put him into foster care, but she wanted him back as soon as she returned to Ethiopia, where she was originally from. She was in the UK as a student, but with the author's name being changed and being moved around so often, his mother could never find him. And it seemed almost intentional to keep mother and child away, but I don't want to tell you too much because I think you should read this book itself. But yes, basically the government took a child away from their mother, put this child into a foster family where this child was really abused, especially by the foster mother, was really manipulated, and then he was just abandoned after 12 years. Imagine you're adopted by a family and they keep you for 12 years. Okay, he's never adopted officially, they're just his foster parents, but they keep bringing up adoption and they're gonna adopt him, that's what they keep saying, but they never adopt him, and after 12 years they basically return him. They're like, no, we don't want him anymore. He talks about the trauma of just being ripped away from his siblings. He is the eldest because his foster parents were unable to have children of their own until after his birth. Then they had 3 more children, I believe. But he was ripped away from his siblings so fast, so he really felt their absence in his life. There was also this constant thing of them telling him that he has evil inside of him. They're a very religious family, but they just keep telling him he has the evil inside him, and he keeps praying because he can't figure out how to get rid of this evil that is inside him because he wants to stay with his family. It is a very, very sad book and difficult to read, so keep that in mind before you pick up this book. Plus, Lem Sisse is also black, so there's this whole discrimination that he also faces every single day of his life. Lem Sisse is a poet, and the book ends with a few of his poems. I am not a really big poetry reader. I've tried because I really wanted to read more poems, but the more I read, the more I discovered that this isn't really for me. But his poems absolutely blew my mind, and I realized maybe I can like poetry after all. He is truly an exceptional poet. The book is not written in verse at all. It's the regular sentence paragraph structure, but still his writing is very lyrical and it is just absolutely beautiful, and that is why I recommend this one. So yes, those are 3 recommendations from me for the time being. I hope you enjoy them. Let me know if you've read any of them before, and thank you for watching this video. I'll see you again later. Okay, bye.